Richie Rich.
Hello, Joe.
Hello there, Johnny.
In 1848, Niagara Falls stopped flowing.
Wow.
For over a day.
Why?
It was 30 to 40 hours. There was a gigantic ice flow, like an ice block that formed on the Niagara River.
So it was cold.
It was cold. It blocked.
Good job, Joe.
It
Wintertime.
blocked the
Really got
flow
to the
of
heart
the
of it.
river. Froze up a little bit more, formed like a little mini dam,
Like a dam,
up the
yeah.
river.
Wow.
That for 30 or 40 hours, everyone who lived around there was so accustomed to this thundering sound of Niagara Falls. And for 30 or 40 hours in 1848, there was no sound.
Well, that's fascinating.
That must have been wild, too.
Yeah.
Especially in 1848, because, there's not like all this other sound in the world and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, it must have been
All
wild.
right, so we're going to put Seltzer right on the griddle, right out of the gate here.
Great. I
We're
can't
gonna
wait.
I think Seltzer's going to get this. All right, this is a deep cut Phillies baseball history.
God.
James, if it had stopped flowing, whose life would it have perhaps saved?
Oh, yeah.
An all-time Phillies great who died at Niagara Falls.
Oh, my God. I do know this. Is it Ed Delahanty?
It is Ed Delahanty. That's a great job by Seltzer. The last Philly to hit 400 in a season, and he died going over Niagara Falls. Now, there's some thought he maybe was trying to end his own life. Maybe it was accidental. There's an unsure element, but it was, it was well over 100 years ago. All right, 215-592-9494.
Would you ever do that?
Would I ever do what?
Like go over Niagara Falls?
Yeah,
What's your question?
That idea.
Is that a real question?
What's the question?
The go over Niagara in some sort of safe
That would be a no.
contraption.
That would be a no.
Like,
All right, that would be a no. Let's get to it here today. All right, so
Jimmy, no.
Nobody's going to do that.
It's a strong no for
If
me.
it's safe, though, if it's a safe contraption.
Like you're saying you were 100% somehow guaranteed to live?
Can we move on?
Yeah, like an
Different
amusement park
discussion.
ride that could be made like that.
All right, so Bryce Harper, starting to irritate me a little bit more. Now, let me be clear. Love the guy, best player in Philadelphia. I mean, no doubt in my mind. Like, all the others, all of them. Joel, Hurts, AJ, like, Bryce is the dude. Zach Wheeler, love him, great player. Bryce is the dude. He is the ultimate right now in Philadelphia sports, and maybe stays that way for the next 5 years or so. We'll see, maybe.
Is Joel's dude growing right now by not even playing?
Maybe a little bit.
I think it is.
Yeah, a little bit. Shows in the absence.
I mean,
of him.
watching what that
I
looks
know.
like,
It's so bad.
Joel's dude is much bigger.
You're right about that. But I want to sort of take on here today at 215-592-9494 this Bryce Harper thing as you perceive it. So an all-timer as a player, and clearly someone who's done a magnificent job helping push and propel and prod the Phillies to do more and more, not only on the field, but off the field to get players to come on the field. But, there was the contract thing over the last couple months, but something he commented on to start a spring training. He obviously wants more money. And think about this. He wants more money 9 and 10 years from now. And I repeat, he wants more money 9 and 10 years from now because he's under contract for the next, 8 years. So, all right, so he goes public with his desire for more money 9 and 10 years from now, maybe 11 years from now. But now, more recently, there's the quote from MLB.com that Todd Zielecki got from Bryce Harper earlier this week, where Bryce was saying the following, obviously excited to have Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola under contract for years to come. And Harper said the following. He said, having the opportunity to have a 1-2 punch with Wheels and Knowles, there's not much like it in baseball. We have an opportunity to have a 1A and a 1A again with the two guys up there at the top. Then you go Ranger and two other guys still out there right now. So we might have a chance at those two guys as well. Now, obviously, the implication is the unsigned Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery and Bryce Harper's desire to see them here. And, of course, they would be an upgrade compared to what the Phillies have, which as of now would be Taijuan Walker and Christopher Sanchez. The rub is Christopher Sanchez and Taijuan Walker are on the Phillies team. They're at spring training with Bryce Harper. They're a couple of locker stalls away from Bryce Harper's locker. And so this is where I want to take it on here today at 215-592-9494. At what point for you in this quote, does the quest to get better and to put it out there publicly and sort of try to put some pressure on John Middleton to do it, at what point does that get met with, yeah, but it ain't cool the way he went about it. I mean, he's basically dissing two of his teammates, which he is. I mean, let's not lose sight of the fact it is a diss of Christopher Sanchez. It is a diss of Taijuan Walker. And guys, I love Bryce. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. He clearly isn't. He's a good dude. You can tell. But it's like, come on, man. Like, if I had Bryce Harper right in front of me, I'd give him like, come on, man. Like, really? You think that's the right course of action? To diss two of your teammates to publicly pressure John Middleton? So love the guy, but I got to say, John, I find some of his stuff lately very irritating and like a little concerning. I mean, come on, man.
Bryce,
John, where do you stand on this?
Bryce is wrong to do this. Bryce basically stumps for a new 4th and 5th starter right under the nose of our current 4th and 5th starter at spring training. That's not cool. And then Todd Zalecki's told by Dombrowski, we like our rotation. That is so smooth. That is so smart. Dombrowski put this out when asked about Harper's comments. No oxygen. This could have gotten crazy ugly. It didn't. Bryce got a little overzealous here. We know that he's got some input into the way things go down with John, and we know that that's okay. We're okay with that.
It's good, actually.
It's probably it's better. It actually helps the Phillies be a more in it team. He went a little over the top. He made a mistake. He doesn't make many. I'll forgive him. For sure. But, man, this is rough what he did with his teammates. And yesterday, Joe, you brought up the fact you think it's likely he's probably still ticked off at Taijuan Walker for what happened after it was the Game 7 loss in the NLCS.
Yeah, it's the season end.
We lose to Arizona, and Taijuan goes public on Twitter saying the disrespect is at an all-time high or something along those lines. Joe, you said, maybe Bryce still holds a grudge. Maybe he held a grudge, and now he's down on this, on Taijuan. Maybe there are other reasons. I don't know. But Christopher Sanchez doesn't deserve this.
No.
Taijuan Walker, for that matter, like he's been not great, but I don't think he deserves it either. He's still your teammate at this point in time. It's not right.
You know who also doesn't deserve it? We're at the point now with John Middleton spending so much money. John Middleton doesn't deserve it.
That's a great point.
I mean,
Absolutely,
seriously, like,
Joe.
I mean, I know it's fashionable around here. Let's rip the owner, spend more money. All right, look, do I want him to spend even more? Sure, I want him to spend even more. Am I going to complain if he doesn't? No.
I'm grateful for what he has spent already.
I mean, we looked it up yesterday. The ninth highest paid Philly has a $72 million contract. The ninth highest paid Philly.
Again, I'll say what I said yesterday. The 8th highest paid Philly, 8th, is higher paid than any White Sox player in the history of their franchise.
Yeah. So, Middleton doesn't deserve it. Look, does Taijuan deserve some locker room when they reconvene this year, someone to be, like a Darren Dalton type to say, yo, dude, let's go. Time to get the act together on the field and off
Absolutely.
the field. 100%.
Yep, talk like that in the locker room.
100%.
Making it public like this, that's a no-no.
So
and Bryce knows that. I'm really surprised that he did this.
Well, I think it was calculated, and it does concern me a little bit extra on Taijuan. Like, does Harper have intel we don't have on Taijuan? Maybe, certainly maybe. But I also know this.
Is the team out on Taijuan?
Correct.
Yeah.
But there's no reason the team should be out on Christopher Sanchez. Now, you can say, well, he's just a young guy, so young guy, deal with it. This is part of being a young guy in baseball. But it's like that guy last year, Christopher Sanchez, did everything he could as a young player to give the Phillies what he could. He did a pretty nice job. He's not a guy making $100 million, not even a guy making $5 million. So I thought he gave them what he could. He was better than expected. He would take it, grip it, and rip it.
He was outstanding.
He was.
For what we expected.
Correct.
And then last season, he altered his arm slot, didn't he, Jimmy? Last season, Christopher Sanchez altered his arm slot and somehow continued to improve and get better. Now, this spring training, I'm reading about how he's adding.
Velocity's up and all that.
Yeah, velocity's up. He's adding pitches to his repertoire, just going to make him better. Like this young man, he's got potential, a big potential. His future is bright.
Look, here's the deal, and we'll talk to you at 215-592-9494. And by the way, we're going to be very heavy on the phones today, so hop in to react to what we're discussing or any of the other stuff. Sixers lost last night. Flyers obviously back at it today after an unconventional trade in the midst of trying to grab a playoff spot. They trade one of their dudes away for a draft pick. But what do you make of the Harper thing? I mean, we all love him. We all admire him. We all respect so much about him. But is some of this stuff starting to become irritating to the point where you're like, dude, enough. Come on. All right, where do you stand on it? What do you make of it? And to what extent is what he said 2 days ago, in your opinion, inappropriate? Or you're like, you know what? The hell with that, man. Taijuan Walker doesn't deserve the respect. If the Phillies can improve and Bryce Harper can put public pressure on John Middleton to go make it happen, then such is life. We'll see where you stand. 215-592-9494. Joe DeCamara and Jon Ritchie, your phone calls throughout the show right here on 94 WIP.